discussed among a group of people, and she's going to present the summary of the discussion.
That was a surprise. I thought we were going to go in order. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Danu. That's actually my nickname. It's not my real name, so that you can't find me afterwards on social media. That's what my parents named me. I was born on the first day of Danu Masam. My dad always proudly explains. I refuse to wear white pants. As you can see, I'm the only person not wearing white pants because I had a horrible experience with white pants as a kid. We had to wear them for physical education. You can come afterwards and ask me what my traumatic experience was, but that is why I am not wearing the uniform today. Okay, a little bit about myself. My name is Danu, as I said. My real name is Anne. I'm from Houston. I'm married with 2 kids. I'm married to the Vertical family. My family is Velia, Kumaram, and my mom is from Charivat. I have 2 children. I have a high schooler and a middle schooler. I've been working in the last 20 years. I do technology and I work for the aviation industry. So I'm really passionate about technology and I'm passionate about aviation. I work for one of the largest US airlines. Libby Chechi is my competitor, but I love you, Libby Chechi. All right, so my topic was communication, and it's a very, very broad topic. I'm going to walk around, so I'm going to make your life very difficult. I thought I'd put a spin on this topic because there's a lot to cover. But I thought we'd talk about communication in our workplace, with our families, and then I want to talk about communication now with technology, because technology is a huge disruptor. It's really changed our lives, and our children, our teenagers, well, we can call them screenagers because they're all communicating with screens, right? So we're going to just talk real quickly about communications, probably do's and don'ts. I was telling my group that I was watching a couple of TEDx talks. They're all on YouTube, on the internet. There's a lady, her name is Celeste Headley. My company actually brought her in to talk to us about ways that we can improve our communication. So the first thing is, number one, when you're communicating with somebody, you want to be present and you should not be multitasking. Give that person the attention they deserve, right? Your phone is going to be going off. I know that you have 10,000 things going through your mind. You're probably trying to come up with a question to ask them, but that means you're not listening. Communication is not talking. Communication is actually listening and being empathetic. Empathetic means you're able to relate to the other person's story and you're able to communicate back to them. This is why we have so many conflicts and struggles in our workplace, because we're just not listening to our co-workers, we're not listening to our boss who has expectations of you, and we're just going with what we are channeling, right? So don't multitask, be present, listen to what the other person is saying. You have 2 ears and you have 1 mouth. Use that ratio. Listen more than talking. When my children asked me, hey, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going to this convention. It's this women's convention. And they said, well, what is that? I said, well, it's all these women from all different Pranaya, strongholds across the US, and they're all coming together. And they're like, oh, gossip convention. Yeah, kind of. But that's one thing that we're really good at as women, is we talk. I don't think we have any issues talking, but are we listening, right? Are we really understanding where the other person is coming from? Secondly, we are forming impressions of people ahead of time. Sometimes you're going in with a stereotype of how a person is, and that is affecting how you're communicating to them effectively, right? We tend to judge people based on their religion or nationality or creed, and we form opinions of them, and that blocks us from actually openly discussing things with them, right? And we tend to gossip. We do tend to gossip. So I know that there's going to be a lot of, conversations like, I'm going to use fake names, Oh, Lucy, hi. Oh, I love your handbag. Yeah, it's a Louis Vuitton. Oh, nice. Okay, bye, Lucy. Louis Vuitton. Why did you just do that? You just brought Lucy down in front of somebody else who doesn't know Lucy, right? And why did you have to do that? And we as women, we tend to do that a lot. And we form false impressions, and we do that and we place it on somebody else, and now everybody's walking around, oh, Lucy then, right? Now, maybe Lucy worked 2 shifts and made her own money and went and bought a bag because she really wanted a luxury item, because she has a horrible personal life. And she gets a lot of joy out of having that one item. And you don't know that because you don't know her story, right? So be empathetic to your coworkers, the person who's mean at work, the person who seems to be blocking your progress, your boss. Have an offline conversation. Stop dealing with the conflict. Have a conversation with them. What is your problem? What is your issue with me? Take it offline, all right? One of the struggles we have in our workplace is that we feel that we are not empowered enough to go and have difficult conversations with our coworkers if we're having conflict with them, or difficult conversations with our boss. January 28th, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger took off from Cape Canaveral in Florida. 73 seconds later, it exploded in a ball of flames. And all the astronauts were killed, and one of the astronauts was Crystal McAuliffe. She was a elementary or middle school teacher, I think. She was the first civilian that was sent into space. And everybody was, what happened? What happened here? What was this colossal failure that happened? And Ronald Reagan was president at the time. He was having a State of the Union address at that night. He was going to be talking about Challenger. Krista was a civilian. There was a lot of media coverage on this space shuttle launch already, and 34 people knew what happened. Those 34 people the previous day were in a conference room, in a meeting for 24 hours, because that day had been extremely cold in Florida. It was so cold that icicles had formed at the base of the rocket ship, and the engineer said, we've never launched a spaceship when there's ice particles at the base of the rocket ship. We think there's going to be a problem. And NASA said, no, Ronald Reagan is watching, and he's going to announce this Challenger launch ship. This is the President of America. We've delayed this 3 times. We've got to get this done. And the engineers went back and forth, and they said, I don't know, I think this is a problem. We've never had rubber solidify when there's ice. I don't know what's going to happen. And there was conflict, and there was arguments, and 24 hours at midnight, the engineer said, go ahead and launch. And look what happened. Those people now, and there was a huge commission about it, there was an issue with the communication methods at NASA where people were not able to express their issues or their problems to management. And that happens to us as well. So the only advice I can give you is, if you think you're in a position in the workplace where something's not going right, or you think something's going to go wrong, or your patients are at risk. I don't think any of us have jobs where we launch people into space, so I think we're okay there. But take your boss, form an ally, person who can, take your case, form an ally, and have that offline conversation with them. What you don't want to do is go into a conference room and surprise your boss and surprise your leadership and say, this is a big mistake, people, because you will be labeled as the troublemaker, right? Have the conversation outside and say, I'm going to voice my concerns. What do we do about this, right? Take that conversation to the side. So that's communication in the workplace. We talked about it in our group. I want to go to the second topic. I don't know how we're doing on time. How much time do we have left? 5 more minutes. I want to talk about technology, and I want to talk about our kids and technology. So our kids are growing up with devices and social media platforms and things that we have no exposure to, right, when we were growing up. And I'm going to say two very, very controversial things here, and then I'm going to run, because you're probably going to try and shoot me or throw your shoes at me. But here's the two things, and we discussed it in our group. I don't think our children should have smartphones before high school. Okay, let me get even more controversial. I don't think pre-high school, our middle schoolers and our elementary kids should be on social media platforms. I was expecting to get hooed out of this room, so here's the thing. Social media is a way for us to put our best foot forward, right? We always show the best of what we have on social media. This is what teenagers do. They show their, blown out hair. They show the new outfit that they got from their shopping haul. They show the new car that their parents bought them. And that is what all the other kids are seeing, and that is what all the kids are comparing themselves to, right? And I don't think that level of stress is something that our kids below the age of even 18, but below the elementary school kids and middle school kids, I don't think they have the wherewithal to deal with that form of pressure. And that is what unlimited access to the internet and unlimited social media platforms is going to give you, right? Even as an adult, it's hard to sometimes, when you go scroll through and you see your friends' Hawaiian vacation photos and you see, I'm trying to think of her name, Steffi Auntie's 1,837 photos from her kid's wedding, and everyone's wearing gorgeous saris and the latest fashion blouses, and they're all posing. Everyone looks great, and then afterwards you feel like a little down, right? It just kind of brings you down because you're like, oh, I'm just sitting here in my sweatpants in my house and look at Steffi's hair and look at Lucy's Louis Vuitton bag, and you're seeing that, and as an adult, it sometimes just kind of brings you down, and maybe you shake yourself out of it and you're okay, but think about your kids. The little, young kids, they just don't really have that maturity to deal with all this digital noise and digital stress that comes from having unlimited access to these devices and to the internet. So as moms, as caregivers, as grandmothers, I think we need to put our foot down. And I think we need to impose some limits. And I think you have every single right to deny your kids this kind of access. Just because their friends have it, just because everybody else has it, doesn't mean it's what your kid needs. Now, some kids are more mature than others. You as a parent, or you as a caregiver, or you as an adult, you know your children better than anyone else. But if you have a sensitive child, or you have a child who has social anxiety, or you have a child who's introverted, you may want to rethink what you're doing with your investment in technology. And it's not just the kids. WhatsApp, I think, is one of the worst social media platforms out there. The worst. When you are forwarding those videos, please, can you just take 2 seconds to think about what you're forwarding and which group you're forwarding it to? Just think, all right? There are senseless videos, there's wrong information, there's fake news that is going out, and we're just circulating it. And the men's WhatsApp groups, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. But I read a really sad story. It was from an Indian newspaper, and it was a young adult, and he said that he left his family WhatsApp group because after a few months, that's when he realized how racist, misogynistic, and sort of insensitive his uncles were. And he left the WhatsApp group. He said, I didn't like the jokes that they were spreading about women. I didn't like the images, or like the sexual imagery that they were passing around callously. And I just didn't realize that my uncles were into that. And I'm gonna get out. It sounds funny, but it's a little sad, right? So you've got a social responsibility when you're on social media. Be social. You know, definitely be social, engage. I have my crazy answer here. I love how they use social media. They comment on my photos, they inquire about stuff, they like things. Do not be what I call stalker Matai. Stalker Matai is the guy who friends everybody, has nothing on his page, he has no profile picture, but he's looking at all your photos. Yeah, he's looking at everything. If you're going to be on social media, engage, be present, engage with your friends. There's nothing wrong with that. But social media with kids, I'd like to take away, we had a very, very good discussion with our team. Where is Bindu? She was in our discussion. I think people are really concerned. So let's take that concern, let's do something about it. Let's see what we can do, just compare notes. I took my notes from Melinda Gates. Melinda Gates is married to Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the 4th richest man in the world who invented Microsoft. Melinda Gates wrote an op-ed article in the Chicago Tribune and she said, I'm scared about raising my kids with technology. Kvtv invented the technology. And she wrote an article and she said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my kids. I don't know what access to give them. I don't know what to do when they go to college. I'm scared. She wrote that article and she was saying, as women, as mothers, we've got to come together, we've got to figure this out. I don't have the answers, but let's figure it out, okay? Thank you.
That was so good. I liked it so much. Yes. That was Anne Lu. She's also known as Tanu. Her last name is Vertical. You're from Houston, right? Yeah, Houston. Yay. Her co-leader is here yet. Jisna Olian. Can you please stand? She was the helper for her. Thank you so much, Jisna. So the next topic up is topic number 6, self-improvement. The presenter is Bintu Chenangada. She's from Dallas. Co-leaders are Bijali Kandarapalal, Jomo Cheriyattal. Both are from Chicago. And Sweeta Tengandara, she's from San Jose unit. Can you guys please stand? He was right there. And where's Bijali? Oh, right there. Thank you, guys. And Bintu, please come on the stage. If you have any questions for these presenters or the co-leaders, please write it down on the plain sheet of paper or the flashcard. There will be an option for a question and answer session, but after all the presentations are done. Okay? Please save the questions for later.
Hi everyone. Are you all enjoying it so far? Okay. We had a very informal session about self-improvement. When we hear self-improvement, it's self-improvement, improvement self. It seems pretty self-explanatory, right? But when we actually dig a little bit deeper into it, we ask about ourselves, our lives, and say, are we improving ourselves? Part of the thing what we are doing here as women, part of our empowerment program, we are all here, which is a good step in the right direction. And kudos to you all for being out here. Yes. Pat yourselves in the back. Yes. Good job. Okay, what we had to do is we had to come up with 3 questions that is more relevant so we can kind of facilitate as to how we can improve ourselves. So I will just mention the questions we had, and then we can go from there, okay? The first question was, how can positive thinking help you improve yourself? So positive thinking is a very important aspect of improvement, right? Thinking positive. I like coming after Danu because she was mentioning that somebody has something and they are, let's say one of our friends has something better than we've owned, and then we have a little jealousy deep within, and instead of thinking like that, realizing that we're not living in their shoes. We don't know what's going on with them. So So be happy for them, right? Instead of thinking, I wish I could, I would, just be honestly, genuinely, but be happy for others. That's in order for us to become improved in our own self, two things we have to do is, one, self-confidence. We have to be confident in our own self. Okay. Second one is we have to have self-discipline. It's kind of hard. We'll say, like, for example, we will say we want to do something, we want to get better at something, but do we actually set a goal? Do we actually work toward it? Okay? That's what we need to do. It takes a lot of self-discipline to go from point A to point B, right? So the second question was, what are your measures to improve physical activity? Today in Angela's talk, she actually talked about, how we say everything is a problem. Sometimes we say, okay, we worry about our color, we worry about our height, we worry about our weight, how other people think of us. All kinds of things kind of pop in our mind. But, we just have to, first and foremost, we just have to think about our own self. We are not living for somebody else, right? We are living for the person who we are, the way God created us to be. Okay? The one Bible verse that actually helps me go through each day is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. Okay? It's a simple word to say, but really if you look into it, can you do all things? Of course, indeed we can do all things. We can conquer our fears. We can get to the next level. We can do whatever we want. Remember, we are all here in the United States. We're in a much better place than we could have been, right? The sky is the limit. We can do all we want as long as we have confidence in God, through God, okay? I was looking at to see if can we find something about self-improvement in the Bible. There's nothing really talking about self-improvement as you owning your improvement. But I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So if you trust in God, and if you take the leap of faith, hang on to God and just jump. Okay, one of the things I had a fear was fear of height. I'm really scared of height. So I decided, making a goal to just go skydiving. That's kind of an extreme measure to take. But that's what I did. What I did was I had the sign saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I had that put on me, and then I went there, talked to everybody that was there. This is the reason I'm jumping, because I know I'm going to hold hand with Jesus. So anything you do in our life, we hang on to Jesus, okay, take a leap of faith and jump. God will make you a better person today than you were yesterday, and tomorrow more than today. That's something we have to remember. When it comes to women and talking about positive thinking, I don't want to mention gossiping again, but we have our, we know deep down when we're behind the closed doors, we know our own behaviors, what we think and what we say about that Louis Vuitton, right? We know that. So just remember those type of things. Okay, the one thing we can do in turn is we all like to hear something good about us, right? If somebody say, oh, I like the sari you're wearing today. You're looking really pretty today. We compliment, right? So I like to hear the compliment. Why don't I do the same for someone else? Okay? You may be the only person who is saying something good about someone that day. The smile you give when you're at work to somebody who is really truly hurting, and then you're smiling at them, that might be the only thing that just picks them up to the next level. Okay? I had a couple weeks ago at work, I just walking through the back door and I'll to say hi to people, and then there's a guy who works in the kitchen. He taught me a lesson. He was picking up big boxes. This is a way before my shift to come, and he was picking boxes and moving, and he's already worked a couple hours already. So I went in there and said hi to him, and I said, have a blessed day. And then he said, you have a blessed day. And then he stopped me and he said, I am already having a blessed day. And it took me back. And he said, I am alive today. God gave me another day to live. So I feel that I'm already blessed.
really, how I was thinking, how many of us we really think about that, right? We just wake up, we move on to our, go on with our business. We don't really take that moment to stop and think and be thankful. That's something, a positive attitude of being thankful. Second question was, what are your measures to improve physical activity? Yeah, we have to be fit, we have to be in shape, we have to look good. More than that, we have to have good health, right? I mean, just for that sake, not just to look good. We have to, somebody mentioned in our group that, we can starve and look good, but are we really looking good? Are we, physically, we may not be fit because we just try to look good, but we have to have a balanced diet. We have to have a balanced lifestyle, right? So that was one of the things we talked about. I am a physical therapist by profession, so I always talk about doing more and doing differently. So some of the things we can do in terms of any day we go to gym, it's great, right? We have to go work out. I see some faces going like that. We don't have time. So what we said was, when we are doing things like that, some of the small things you can do, when you say, I don't have time, which as women, as mothers, as working mothers, a lot of the times we don't have, that's the truth, sometimes we don't have time. So in place of just to exercise in your brain to make it a positive thing, instead of us saying, I don't have time, start saying, it's not a priority to me. If you say that, okay, instead of saying, I don't have time to go work out, say, my health is not that important because it's not a priority to me. How will that make you think? Does that make sense? Once you start saying that, you will change. I started saying that a few times, and it took me by surprise. I was shocked. I said, oh, sure, it's a priority to me now. Because, when we keep on thinking it's not a priority, you have other priorities. If you don't take care of you, who will? Right? So you have to take it as a priority to work out if you need to, park your car further so you can walk a little bit more, go up, like lunchtime. If you're working in a hospital or a building with multiple levels, go up a couple of stairs, up and down a couple times. You don't have to carve like your 30 minutes of workout all the time. You can do that in between. Just go up and down a flight of stairs, sing your song, do your prayers, or talk to someone if you need to, if you can do both at the same time, okay? If you can climb up the stairs and talk at the same time, you're in pretty good shape. Some of us cannot do that. So try to find ways to just carve a little bit of things in between, okay? And mainly what you have to do is become positive in whatever you do. Nobody wants to be a negative, nobody wants to associate with a negative Nelly, right? So the way you can achieve is associate with people who are positive thinking. Okay? You have to find, if somebody keeps on saying, oh, everything looks good, but I think you should have curled your hair today instead of straightening it. They're not trying to find the best in you at that point. They are saying all good, but a little nudge of negativity pushing into you. Then you start thinking, oh, maybe I should have curled it. She said I should have curled it. Be yourself. Okay? Who is she to say, or who is he to say, you are who you are the way you want to be. Today I'm going to straighten my hair. Sure, I'll curl it tomorrow if I feel like it. Don't let somebody's approval affect you. Okay? You are who you are the way you are to be. And be proud of it. Be humble about it, because God is the one who made us the way. You're unique. There's no two like you. Then the other thing is, always remember, we do what we can. Something we cannot control, don't worry about it. Okay? There's a saying that if you can do something about to change it, do it. If you cannot change, just leave it. But don't complain about it. Just move on, find another avenue, do something different. Find something that suits you instead of trying to do something that you just cannot, conquer. Move on. Do something different. You can do something else. There's nobody that is perfect. Okay? Even if we say we know so much, there's no one that's perfect. We all have something good in us. Try to find that path and work on it instead of trying to be perfect in everything, because we just can't. We're just humans. Nobody is perfect in everything. And God made us differently, and uniquely the way you are to be. The third question was, why is goal setting? We talked about setting goals. If you want to achieve something, if you want to improve yourself from today to, let's say, next month, if you don't set a goal, how can you measure it? Okay, so you have to set short-term goals and long-term goals. I don't want to use weight as an example. How about something else? Let's say you want to learn a new language. Okay, let's say we all can be handy in Spanish. Okay, you say, I want to be proficient in Spanish, at least to talk to my patients or wherever you are, you want to become a little bit better. So you decide, I'm going to take a Spanish class. I'm going to take next semester. Okay, I'm going to finish in July. That's a few months from now. I'm taking the class next semester, and I'm going to finish it in June or July. That way I am a better person, better Spanish speaking person than today. So that way you have a goal. Okay, your goal is by next July, you will take class, you will do better, and you will improve on your skill. And then the next goal, then you can set a long-term goal. Okay, something could be like you're going to go to Brazil, or you're going to go to a Spanish-speaking country. That takes some more preparation. So do the short-term goal and try to achieve. If you put a date, if you put a time frame and you achieve it, you are motivated to do and go to the next level, and it's achievable. But if you just say, I want to learn Spanish, if you don't set a goal, you're always going to be on the same place you were before. Okay, so that's the thing. Setting goals is a priority. It's a very important aspect of improving your own self. Okay, the other thing we have to remember is, even God, when created the universe, God had set goals. Do we know that? In Genesis it says, God created in day 1. God created in day 2. Evening came, morning followed, then the next day. Okay, so God being in charge of everything, He was disciplined. He had set goals and He achieved it on time. So we have to remember, if the God Himself had goals and He put time frame to things, we have to discipline ourselves. Okay, we have to put a time frame and then achieve it. And if we don't achieve it, that's okay. You're still a better person today than you were yesterday because you set the goals. Just push it a little bit more, okay? You don't achieve in 1 month, give it another 30 more days, that's okay. But you're still improved from where you were. That's something you have to understand. I want to give you a Bible verse that talks about how unique you are, the way you are created to be, just so we can lift ourselves up and say, I don't have to be like the other person. Okay, you are unique. That way, you just have to improve yourself. It's not like that. He was saying, this kid, okay, this person someone mentioned in our group, we have a tendency to say, okay, your daughter made a 96 and then brings the grade to your home, and then you ask, where is the other 4? Have we done that before? Yes. Some of us have, right? So instead of asking, where is the other 4? You just lift them up and say, don't compare to anybody else. Okay, that maybe she's not as smart as the other person, but she may be very artistic compared to this other person. They have other talents. Try to bring it up. Beating them down with negativity is never going to help them get better. Same with us. Okay, but we talk about our kids and say we shouldn't do that. But how often do we beat ourselves and say, oh, I'm not good at this. I'm never going to get over this. I'm just not that kind. Just take the leap of faith. Take that decision to go over the hurdle and become a better person. Only you can do it. Okay, nobody else can. Your husband can make you. They can make it. Sometimes they can help you with the positive. I don't know how many of them will do, but some of them will eat the food, eat the chore, and they'll walk away, and they will say, if I ate all the food, that means it was good. Right? So sometimes don't expect it from others. But you be that one to be the one to set the goal and become a positive person for others, okay? I will end with this Bible verse. This is Jeremiah 5:1. Anybody knows? Jeremiah 1:5. I think it's Jeremiah 1:5. I'll read this, okay? Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. So take care of yourself. Remember, there's no two like you. You're the only one. I'm going to take 2 minutes. Is that okay? I just want to do a small activity, just 2 minutes. Everyone can just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Okay, you go ahead and, I know some of you may have stuff in your hand. Just put that down and hold your thumb to your middle finger. Close your eyes and just focus on your thumb approximating to your middle finger. Press it hard, press it good. And then bring the other fingers together. Bring all the fingers together now. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel your thumb onto the other fingers. You feel the pulse coming onto the fingers. You feel the vibration. You feel the warmth on your fingers. You remember blood is flowing through it. This day is set apart for you. God set this day apart just for us. He brought us all together. This day you've been graced to breathe. People who were able to meet today, think of all the things you've done yesterday, the fun you had, all the things you were able to do yesterday and today, all the wonderful ladies you were able to meet. How has this day pushed you to become a better person? We've learned a lot. We truly have become a better person than yesterday. Open your heart, not your eyes. Open your hearts. Tell yourself the only prayer you've always needed to say to yourself is, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You can all open your eyes now. You're all still here. You have another chance to make it better for yourself. Sky is the limit. Write your goals. Start today. Okay, let's see how we can improve ourselves. Set your short-term goals, your long-term goals. Be positive, smile, tell everybody something good about that person. Thank you all.
That was another excellent presentation. Thank you so much, Bindu. Next up is topic number 4, public speaking. Our lead speaker will be Smita Vettabarapurtha. She's from LA. Her co-lead was Kavita Mugale. Can you please stand? Thank you so much, Kavita, for helping. She's from Minnesota. Before Smita gets started, we have a little bit of audiovisual help needed here. It's not for you, it's for another speaker. Can you hang around for a second? Liz, can you please? In the meantime, I have an announcement. Someone found a gold locket in the bathroom. How does it look like? Huh? It's a goldfish? That's not what I got. I got a thali. Oh my God. You have it? Can you give it to us? All right, it is a fish. But it's not a thali. What? You have a picture of it? Can I have the gold, the diamond Mukuti exchange for this fish? Do we need more time? So there is she actually had, I'm not sure if it's a Mukuti or a Kamal. It could be a second stud too. Looks like a diamond one. So I guess we are finding more and more stuff now. And there's some makeup items. It's not for sale. Anybody lost it? Misplaced in the bathroom? On this floor, right? On this. Oh, you found on the floor here? So people are putting makeup in this room? Is that what's happening? All right, I invite Smita Vettubarabartha to give us the next presentation.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing so far? Nobody's going to pass out, right? I know it's almost 1 o'clock. Make sure you eat some snacks because you're not getting out of here anytime soon. All right. So, I really don't think I need an introduction because I jokingly said I was the founding mother of this Women's Summit. 2 years ago, I was standing up on a similar stage like this and delivering my speech while we were making history. That was 2017 Summit. And I'm so happy to see most of you here have come back and even meet new faces. Thank you so much for making this happen to the kind KCWF and executives. So, just in case if anyone doesn't know me really well, I'm coming from Los Angeles unit. I originate from the Lametta family. I'm married to Matthew Vettubarabartha. We have 2 teenage boys, Jake and Simon. By profession, I'm a nurse practitioner. By passion, I love to travel, explore the world. I love hiking. I love fashion and designing, and I enjoy being a motivational speaker. So my topic of discussion today was public speaking. Our group had a good discussion. It is a topic it's hard to discuss unless your group does it. So it was more like an informative session. So public speaking was important in the history. And in today's world, public speaking is the backbone of our society. Because every single day, people across the United States and around the world stand up in front of some kind of an audience and speak, right? So public speaking is one of the most important skills that you will ever develop in your lifetime. We also talked about there's 3 kinds of public speaking. Today's speakers we are mostly doing informative speeches, and some of them are doing motivational speeches and entertainment or ceremonial type of speeches. And we talked about some of the benefits of public speaking. It boosts your self-confidence. It enhances your reputation. And it makes you very comfortable when you are around other people. And good public speaking skills can benefit you to advance your career. And every public speaking opportunity should be considered to be an opportunity for you to grow as a leader. And public speaking can help you to demonstrate how knowledgeable you are, and it helps you to gain new knowledge. And finally, public speaking is extremely important if you want to be a leader, because people like to follow leaders who inspire them and effectively communicate their ideas with their audience or teammates. So, if it's so important, why don't we see that many people speaking in public? Especially in our society, community, Knanaya community, especially among women. Why don't we see that many women coming forward and speaking? We learned that that's because of the fear of speaking in public, the anxiety. That's called glossophobia. Study shows that glossophobia is the most common and greatest fear somebody will have. Harvard University study shows 75% of people have this speaking in public anxiety. And that comes second to the fear of death comes only second to the fear of speaking in public. So just imagine how bad it is. So the root cause, so when you have this fear, your body, and you're asked to be speaking in front of a public, your body goes to this fight or flight response, where your adrenaline rushes into your bloodstream, makes your hand sweaty, your heart to beat so fast and pound so fast, your breathing becomes more shallow and faster, and you feel dizzy, you feel like collapsing, you feel like something's sitting on your chest, right? So all these symptoms makes you so uncomfortable that you won't be able to perform in front of public. The root cause of all this is the uncertainty or the fear of failure. Because when you speak in public, you can do either really good or not so good. And the outcome of that speech affects the way people think about you. So you're afraid, you don't want to jeopardize your reputation that you already have. You don't want to fail in front of other people. So that's the root cause of all this. The good thing is, public speaking is a learnable skill just like any other skill. It is something that you develop over a period of time. I shared with my small group how I became a speaker, what helped me in this journey. I don't have time to go over that right now. But due to the time constraint, I'll just focus on the strategies that we could use to improve some of your public speaking skills, tackle the anxiety and fear, and learn to deliver a memorable speech. Number one, know your audience. When you're asked to present something, before you do anything, get to know as much as about your audience. You want to be able to resonate with your audience. It's about them. It's about the audience, not so much about you. That helps to determine the choice of your words, your language, your level of information, organizational pattern, motivational statements, whatever that you need to prepare that speech. Number two, know your topic. Master your topic. Because in order to lead a discussion, in order to do a speech, in order to carry on a conversation, you must know everything about that topic to avoid self-doubting. The main problem that we have when we do a public speaking is self-doubting, because you're not confident about your topic, or you're afraid, what if the audience is going to ask me a question and I won't be able to answer? That's the main issue that we will have in terms of the fear. So if you know the topic, you feel confident. So research, get the most current stats and facts, information that you need to know about the topic. So now you know the audience, you know the topic. Next step is organize it, concise your material, framework, that's called draft. I told my group, I usually write 2 to 3 drafts before I finalize my material. Drafts are so important. The draft should have an introduction, main point, and a conclusion. And the introduction is the most important part of your speech, because literally you will have 10 to 30 seconds of your speech to catch someone's attention. If you don't, you lose them. So start off your introduction with a powerful opener. Use headlines, stats, interesting facts. Use storytelling. You know, our speakers today, Angela, I think Danu, you all use some storytelling because storytelling creates drama, emotions, and suspense. People remember what you talked about. So use that. And a conclusion always should be a take-home message that, you know, they could go out there and make a difference. So now you prepared your draft, you finalized your material. Now the next step comes. Practice and prepare. Everybody get nervous, you know, to speak in front of public. I get nervous every time I face a new crowd. I have spoken to some of the well-seasoned speakers. They all tell me they get nervous before they face each crowd. But one of the best ways to tackle this anxiety and the fear is by prepare, and more prepare. Practice, and more practice. As soon as you find out you are going to do a speech, you start working on your draft. The more time you get to practice, the better your preparation will come out. Now, once you have finalized your material, you're going to practice by yourself first. Stand in front of a mirror, audio recording, video recording, see what you need to change, your body language, maybe tone of voice, and after that, you come home and practice in front of your family. I do that in front of Matthew and my boys, because I told my group, they are the best constructive criticism people I ever met. I take their criticism, I don't change my speech, but I modify them. Sometimes I change a flow, sometimes I change the words. He might say this may go here better. So take that criticism, or if you can find a good friend of yours to critique you, and take their criticism, and do the practice several times, because that will help you to get the things coming through your mind, so you don't have to by-heart it. The next step. So now you know your audience, you know the topic very well, you prepare your draft and you finalize, you practice very well. You're ready to go to the stage. But before you go to the stage, you feel the anxiety. You feel nervous. I don't know, I know everything, but I just can't go in. How are you going to diffuse your anxiety? You have to diffuse your anxiety. I have a few techniques to do that. Number one, shift the focus to the audience. Stop thinking about yourself, your worry, your fear. It's about the audience. It's not about you. You're just being here to present. But it's about the audience. What they really want, what they really need, and what they're going to do with this message, and what they're going to make a difference in this world, how they're going to make a difference. So shift the focus to the audience. Trust me, that works. I do that all the time. I did that today. So, do that. Shift the focus. Next step. Crowds are always intimidating. It's so much easier, I look at Liz, and having a one-on-one conversation. But even though we have almost 300 people here, I am visualizing in my mind, I'm looking at Liz at a familiar face and thinking in my mind, I'm having a one-on-one conversation. That really helps to ease that of anxiety. That doesn't mean I'm going to stare at Liz all through my speech. I'm going to shift my focus to Anne the next time. And I'm going to think I'm having a discussion with her, a conversation. So that helps to ease the anxiety a lot. Another technique, positive thinking. Bindu talked about positive thinking. When you do positive thinking, your confidence level goes up. When you have this self-sabotaging, you're thinking negativity of yourself. Oh my God, I'm going to the stage and I'm going to forget what I'm going to say, and I might just shake and shiver, I'm going to fall down. That's self-sabotaging. That's negative energy is already created. Your confidence levels go so low, and you are more likely to perform bad on the stage. Instead, use affirmations and visualization. You have to visualize, I'm going to deliver a great, memorable speech. And when I'm done with it, all my audience are going to come to me and say, they're going to take a good, nice message home and they're going to make a difference in this world. And I'm going to use the affirmation. I'm so grateful that I got this opportunity to be on the stage and talk to all this wonderful crowd, because not everybody gets the opportunity, and I should cherish every moment that I get to be on the stage and speak to a crowd. That helps to bring your confidence level up, and you are more likely to perform better on the stage. Another technique, deep breathing exercises. When you take deep breathing exercise, it helps to send the signal to your brain, hey, you need to calm down. The brain sends signal to your body, you better relax. So your heart rate goes down, you feel relaxed. And if possible, before your speech, go for a light walk, because it helps to bring the oxygen to your brain, and more oxygen to your brain, better performance chances. Another technique is, stage effect. Stage effect is a fascinating thing. It has the most immediate and powerful return. It gives you the ability to leverage. The quality of your presentation and the number of audience creates the level of attraction you create as a speaker. In other words, the larger the audience is, the better reputation and attraction you get as a speaker. So don't be afraid of a large audience. I know it's easy to have a one-on-one conversation, but having a large audience, it's actually a good thing. Just embrace that. But use the technique that I mentioned before. Visualize I'm having a one-on-one conversation, even though I have 400 people. So now you used all these techniques to diffuse your anxiety. You are about to go to the stage. You are on the stage. You're starting your speech with speaking slowly and calmly. When we get nervous, we tend to speak fast, right? That's wrong. When you speak slowly and calmly, your voice has more power and authority. Your audience will get an opportunity to absorb what you're saying. Study shows your words should not exceed more than 110 words per minute. So you started off your speech, speaking slowly and calmly. Now the next step comes, you are maintaining your body language and tone of voice. The study shows 55% of speaking is body language, communication. 38% is the tone of voice, and it's only 7% is the actual words spoken. So body language is so important. Avoid any gestures that shows you are anxious. Stand up straight with your chin up, with the positivity and purpose and energy. Don't walk in like, you are so nervous and you don't have the energy to do it. Stand up with the positive and energy and confidence. Keep your hands on the side. You don't have to put it in the pocket. Show them you are not anxious. I'm not anxious. Maintain eye contact. Okay? Avoid fidgeting. When we get nervous, do this or like. But you don't have to stay still. You can move around, but avoid any type of gestures that shows you're negative. So you started your speech with your confidence, with speaking slowly and calmly, with your maintaining your body language, and change the tone of voice. Every time you change your tone of voice, you get people's attention. Okay? So now everything is going good. It's time to watch for feedback. I'm doing a speech here and I'm watching you guys. Do you seem to be interested? Are they following me? If you do, and I do see that, that's good. Continue what you're doing. If you don't see them interested, change your speech. Be flexible. Tweak it. Make it interesting. Okay? Now, do not read off the paper. I usually write my speech. I told my group, I believe in order to be a speaker, you should be a writer. But not everybody writes it, but other people write it for them, and then you do the speech. That's okay. Whatever it is, do not read off the paper. It's so boring. If I stay here and say, oh, public speaking is this and that, and this, I already lost your interest. But write down the key points and just look through the key points. And when you do that, prepare, practice. It will come to your mind what you're about to say. Doesn't mean you have to by heart it. Just look at the key points and it will come to you. And don't be afraid of a moment of silence. Let's say you started off your speech, all of a sudden you forgot what you're about to say. You had a thought block. You have a moment of silence. And for you, that moment of silence made it seem like a long, eternal silence. But it's actually just a few seconds. And your audience would not mind for you to recollect what you're about to say. So take some nice deep breaths. try to recollect, and just move on. And don't apologize to your audience because you don't want to bring the attention to the wrong area. Just keep going on. And finally, if you have a passion to educate, entertain, and inspire people, you will find a purpose in it, and you will do good. When a speaker walks into the stage with her poise and her control, when she starts speaking slowly and calmly with her passion and confidence, she's going to catch the attention of the room. So ladies, do not let the public speaking anxiety paralyzes us. Okay, public speaking is a skill that's definitely worth learning. And this is something that is better if you develop it early on, but it's never too late to develop this. And I really hope that I was able to inspire some of you and hope to see at least a few of you coming forward in the future and speaking. And thank you, and hope you are enjoying the message.
Thank you, Smita, for that wonderful speech. You see that people are getting restless, everybody's getting hungry. Is that the problem? Should we have a break now, or should we... Wait. You all are empowered women, so if I let you go, would you come back? If everybody is okay with it and okay with coming back here in 45 minutes, we can disperse now. No, keep going? Keep going? Very good. Okay, excellent. If somebody has to really leave and take a break, please do that, okay? We don't want any fainting spells here either. All right, so the next up is topic 3. College applications, key points to remember. Our lead speaker is Jessie Willian. She is from San Jose unit, and her helpers were Jutsi Tengenparayal and Susan Tengenparayal. Can you please stand? Jutsi Tengenparayal, Susan Tengenparayal. They are also from San Jose unit. Thank you so much. Right.
Thank you, Smita. Like Smita said, I'm not a public speaker, but I'll try my best, okay? Okay, my name is Jessie Molian. I'm from San Jose unit. In profession, I work as a pharmacist, and I have 3 children, 1 done in school, 2 in college. So since 2010, I started college with my kids, still going, okay? And then 2 more years, hopefully. So, so we had a small group discussion, and the group asked me to talk about a few things that we came up with. And I talked to Smita several times. I said, this is a boring thing because we have all the audience are moms whose kids are done with school. What are we going to talk to them about school, going to college? So, but now I just sit there and thinking, this is good for everybody because you can talk to your friends, you can talk to your children, you know, maybe to your grandmother, you can tell your kids. But things change. There's a lot of things keep, you know, different all the time. So, starting with college application, like you all know, school does help them a lot. You know, they're counselors. So I don't want to go into any of the details because ACT, SAT, GPA, that's all included in the package. So we don't need to talk about all that. So we'll talk about things that beside our GPA or SAT score. And you guys all know that SAT and all that thing's going to go soon. It's going to be pretty soon out. They're taking that off the market. Yeah, I think Chicago is already in the list that's being taken out of the market. So pretty soon we're going to see big changes, you know, because they keep changing, 1800 to 2400 to this and that, 800, 600. So all things going to change pretty soon. So a few things we came up with the moms whose kids were young kids in our group. They want to talk about extracurricular activities,
financial situations that help you with your college kids, how to move with the college kids applications. And another discussion was how, when you have family gatherings and stuff, how your older generation kids who are already in college, can give a little input to your little kids, who are already in high school. Because I see a lot of moms here who are first generation, you probably went to school here, but a lot of them, we are immigrants, we never went to school here. So we learned along with our kids. We didn't learn when our kids went to college, we walked with them, we walked with their school life every day of their life. So that's how we learned. So now the thing was, one of the discussion was like, when you have a family gathering, when you have a group, talk to the older kids who are in college or maybe you already graduated. Say some few things to the kids who are there, they're in high school or they're applying to college. Because they will listen to their peers better than us. Is that right? Yes. So that's one good way to start your college application. It's like a process for your college application, not necessarily the papers, but we need all these group discussions that can help with your kids. And the second thing we were talking about, volunteering. When you talk about volunteering to your high school kids, it's probably boring for them. But think about it, it has a big impact on college applications. Now, if you look at the studies, you can see 60 to 70% of the college counselors say, yes, you need that extra. But the quality of your volunteering that the kids do, that is the key factor. You have to remember, your kid can be in a club. That's very common. That's very general aspect of volunteering. But the quality of your kids' volunteering service. Because when you apply for college, they're going to look how you stand out. Are you a leader? Can you lead our schools, your kids around you? Can you give them the leadership? So that volunteering shows the application reader how you stand out. Are you working for the community? I gave a few examples to my peer, my group. My coworker, 2 moms. Do you guys know how much is the max GPA in high school? 5. Sorry, it's 5. That's a max GPA for a high schooler. If you do all AP and honors classes throughout high school, you go about 4.5. So my friend, my coworker, they're a Caucasian family. Her son, dream school, Stanford. So he worked really hard in high school because his dream school, they visited several times Stanford when he was in high school. So his dream school was Stanford, so he worked really hard. His GPA was 4.75. I never even heard that in my life before. That's the first time I heard that, okay? 4.75 GPA. So he applied to Stanford, declined. The mom got very upset. She was frustrated. She came to work. She would throw things. They're like, what's going on? What happened? She goes, oh, we were in the minority. My son got rejected from Stanford with a 4.75. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? So she called. She called the Stanford, the admission department. Said, why my son got declined. So they asked her questions, what your son was. He goes, oh, my son, he's the class president. His GPA is 4.75. He's a hard worker. He worked all high school years. So they said, what kind of work he did? He said, oh, he was working in a coffee shop or whatever, grocery store. So what was he doing? He was earning money, right? So the Stanford asked, what did he do for the community? So she said, no, he didn't do any sports or nothing much, nothing going on, but he's working, he's making money for his pocket. What are you giving to the community? That is one main thing you should talk to your kids. So your leadership, that's what they're looking for. Are you good for our school? Can you be a team leader? That's the main concern what they're looking for. Sorry. And another thing, along with that, I have to add, this kid, 4.75, can you imagine? He's going to get in any school, right? That's what we think, right? He only applied to 3 schools because he was overconfident with his family, everybody. So he applied UC Riverside, UC Irvine, and Stanford. Stanford declined. He got into UC Riverside. The problem is never do that with your kids. 3 schools. Doesn't matter how good he is. Have a list. At least 12 schools. Then narrow down from there with the amount of money, money is a big fact in going to college. And moms all here, you have kids in college. Can you imagine how much money you need a year for one kid for college? What do you guys think? Not necessarily. They can go to community college. You can end up in 5,000. You can go to a university, maybe 30, maybe. So it could range from $5,000 to $60,000 a year for a kid in college. So where is the money coming from now? Oh, my second story. Let me finish that too. So my other coworker, she's Filipino family. Her son just go to General High School, 4.1 maybe. That's it. He got to Stanford. So the mom said, so we talked. What happened? So we work and we all talk about kids, right? So what he did, he was well-rounded. He didn't have a very good GPA or anything, but he did community service. 4.1 got into Stanford versus 4.75. So there's a big gap there. So he was well-rounded. He was his school. He was doing a lot of volunteering outside school. And he was in the band going around the U.S. They are competing in different bands. And last summer, his mom signed him up for an internship. And another thing, that's a quality of internship, okay? In Harvard. It was not cheap. It was $10,000 for 3 weeks. So I'm just giving you clues what he can do. There's a lot of stuff out there we can talk about. So 3 weeks of internship, he stayed there, $10,000, but that helped him to get into Stanford. So all his essay was based on the internship, what he did in Stanford, and showed how good he liked it, how he wanted to move forward with the same kind of stuff what he did. So that really impressed the application reader getting into college. So little things, the leadership can help you to get into good college. So being parents, being moms, it's our responsibility. Why State started, when we came here, there was no internet. We didn't have any information. We had very little information what we can do with our kids. But now, you guys are very, very lucky. You have everything in your fingertip. All the information you need, you can get it online or talk to other moms, kids who are already in professional schools or who are already doing undergrad, universities. Talk to everybody possible. Get more information. Get a lot of information. Every question, ask around. That's very, very important. So if you can get all the information, you can really help your children go to a good school. Next, money. We talked about money. Money is a big factor when coming to college admissions, right? I don't know how much money you save for your kids. When do you start saving for your kids' college? What do you think? Since the day they're born. So think about having that 100,000 extra in your bank for your kids. That's even not enough. If you have 3 kids going to college, that's 1 year, $150,000 right there. So you need that extra security that you can be supporting your kids with college. So we all say, oh, the kid is in college for 6 years, 8 years, how come he's not graduating? I'm not talking about a Malayali or an Indian family supporting their children. We all support our children as much as we can, right? But like I said, in my career, I probably saw like 300, 500 pharmacy technicians always telling me, I want to go to pharmacy school. I want to go to pharmacy school. I probably saw 3 men so far in my life. Because they have no support. Because they have to work, to make their own living and go to school. How that's going to happen? You cannot take all classes. It's not easy to work full time and study with a professional school. No way. It's very hard. So money is a big fact in your school. Can I just say one more thing? So one of my coworkers, we were talking, and he goes, oh, I said, oh, my kids have loan. He said, oh, my kids graduated with no loan. I said, how'd you do that? And he said, his son is a doctor doing residency right now. His daughter is a pharmacist. So he said, when my kids were born, me and my wife's parents and my parents, we sat together. We had to make a plan for the college funds. It is not for the moms who are like, spray-on moms, okay? So, so the parents decided, mom's paycheck, $100, every paycheck goes to the kids' account. From dad's paycheck, $100 goes to kids' account, college account, okay? So 2 paychecks, how much money is going to the kids' account? 400. We get 2 paychecks a month, right? 2 paychecks a month. So if you lose $100 of a paycheck, are you going to notice it? No. You don't know that's happening, right? You have to have straight deposit, it's going to go. It doesn't matter. And the parents, the mom's parents said, oh, we can help you too, we'll give you $100 to the kids' account. And the dad's parents said, oh, we'll put $100 to the kids' account every month. So how much money is in there now? $600. By the age of 18, how much money does a kid have in his account? Almost 150,000 by the interest and everything. But, so just a simple technique, just help you guys if you want to think about it. This is something, talk about your spouse, your family, even your grandkids, you can help them out. The little things, there's a lot of things here. I can talk for days for this, but but I don't have time. Smith already warned me. I need to stop it right now. So, all right, thank you, everybody.
That was so good. Thank you so much. I have kids going to college next, so I got some good tips from her. Thank you so much. Next up is topic number 8, women and wealth. Let's talk about money. So we have 2 leaders in this group, Shari Ventanur and Liz Mamuto. So Shari is starting the presentation, and then Liz is gonna do her part after that. They had helpers too, yes. Anjana Chakungal from New York, is she here? No. I guess she's done helping. All right, Sonia Ottapalli from Chicago. Thank you, Sonia. And Gigi Putagari from Chicago. She's not here either. Okay, great. Thank you so much for helping out, Sonia.
Hello. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good night. Whichever one you want to pick. All right. Everybody's ready to talk about paisa, money. Yeah? Who doesn't need money, right? Everybody needs money. All right. I'm not a very good expert. I know Smita did talk about being very expert in the topic, practice over and over again, which I haven't done. I'll do my best. Hopefully that will do some justice. Who am I? Charity Vandenor. Married, 2 kids, 10 and 2.5. Very notorious. Oh my gosh. Terrible too. I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm from Windy City, which is freezing right now with 5 inches of snow. That's a little bit about me. Moving on to the topic. Wealth and women. Thank God it's only WW and not WWF. If not, I would have been in trouble. What is the formula for wealth? We all want money. How do we figure this out? We work really hard to get our money. How do we make sure we keep our money and not lose it, right? There is a little formula to it. Money plus time. There's a clicker here. Okay, you see, I'm not very good with this. How do you work this out? Great. This is a little formula you can write down. Money plus time plus and minus interest minus inflation minus taxes. That's lots of word. We'll break it down. So I'm breaking down this presentation to have time with me. I'll be doing a few of this. I'll be doing the money, time, and inflation. And Liz, who's a financial counselor who does this for a living, is going to be talking about the other part of it. So how does time and money work? Are they related to each other? Very much so, right? After all these topics, what we heard, college education from the daytime they're born, and from the time they go to college, hell yeah, they're very much related to each other, right? How do we work this out? Let's start off with a little bit of enlightenment, right? Say if you do a work, do you do some kind of work, and your employer, or whoever is supposed to give you the money, tells you, I'll pay you $1,000 today, or I'll pay you $1,100 next year. Which option would you like to take? Which one? I can hear. Today, right? Because money that's in our hands is worth more than the same amount of money next year. Is that true? Provided you can afford. So $1,100 next year is 10% interest on the $1,000. How many of you know places where you can get 10% interest on the money that you invest? How much does the bank give us? Point, how many ever zeros, and then a 1 at the end, right? And that's how much bank gives out. 10% is a lot of money. 10% interest on your $1,000 is a lot of money. If you can afford to not have the $1,000 in your hand right now, and make sure the person who is giving the money is reliable, and you do know that you're going to get the money, then isn't it a better option to make sure you get the money next year with 10% interest? Yes. Yeah? As long as the person will give you the money and you know you will get the 10% interest. But if you're confident that you will make more than the 10%, you know how to play your cards well. You know you can make more than 10%, and you are very certain that you can do it, then you should probably take the $1,000 now and invest it properly in places where you can get more than 10%. Does that make sense? Right? Know what you're doing. Have your money with you. Know your situations. If you know where to put it in, how you know you can get more than that, you can make more money out of it. If not, if you think you will not make more than 10%, keep that money with you. Right? There are formulas. I'm not going to go over the formulas, it's kind of very boring. There are formulas to estimate money, value of money, future value and present value. You can do that. You can just plug in your numbers. You know how to plug in the numbers, and they'll give you what's $1,000 worth in 1 year, what's $10,000 worth now. You can present value of the money and future value of the money. You can do the calculations. You can just plug in the numbers, I'll give you the values. Moving on. What's inflation? It's like the Prema movie, right? We all hear Java yadana, Java idana, Java adipoliyana. What is inflation? We all hear about inflation all the time. What is it? Exactly right there. That picture will show you what inflation is. When you went grocery shopping with $100 10 years ago, your cart was full. When you go grocery shopping now to Walmart, you have like 2 or 3 things in here, in the cart. It's like, where's my $100? That's it. That's exactly what inflation means. Right? That's exactly what is inflation. What does inflation do? It's like a rust that takes off your iron. It is there. There is no way you can surpass inflation. Inflation and taxes are going to be there. Only going to get worse. What is the inflation rate right now? Anybody knows what is the current inflation rate in the United States? My group should know. 40 people, come on. 1.75, that's the inflation rate right now. Is it expected to go up? Yes. Has it been up before? Yes. It has been up till 15%. We've had times in the United States when inflation was up to 15%. Any inflation more than 10% is called recession. Thank you, my group, they were listening. Okay. So, what you can do with your money now is not probably what you're going to be doing in next year. The amount you pay for a haircut now is going to go higher up next year. Does that mean you're going to do all your haircuts and go bald now? Yes? No, that's not the solution. We need to know where to put the money in so we can get maximum out of it, right? How do we do that? How does inflation work? There are two ways. Inflation works two ways. Demand pull and cost pull. What are they? They're very similar. Very similar, a little different. Demand pull. When there's more demand, less supply, lack of laborers, lack of raw materials. That's when the demands go up, right? How does that work? About 5-6 years ago, if you wanted the LCD flat screen TV, how much was it? 3,000-4,000. Now, is there any house with a regular TV? What happened? What happened? The demand went up. At that time, they didn't have enough supply. So what they did, they hiked up the price. They made it 4,000. I couldn't afford to buy a $4,000 TV at that time, but now we can. So because the demand went up, manufacturers or any business, they never want to say no. They never want to run out of what they have. So what did they do? They were hiked up the price so people could not afford it at that point. And then what did they do? The manufacturer companies went hard, they worked hard, they increased the manufacturing, and then what happened? There were simply TVs everywhere, and they could go down in the prices, so we all could afford it. That's a demand pull. Demand went up, people wanted to have it, people manufactured more, and the price went down. Same thing with Apple phone. Having an Apple phone 10 years ago, man, that was a statement thing to have an Apple phone. Everybody would flick it up, show the Apple signs, have it all over the place. But now, every time they can hear he has an Apple phone, right? Because, what did they do? It's not made in California anymore. It's made in China. Made in China, assembled in California, right? That's what they do. Not the empty money, though. Anybody saying empty money? What's cost pull? Cost pull, how does that work? When the demand is more, but there is no stuff. What happened when US, nobody in here, right? When US went with the Arabs and there was a problem there. Everybody had car, we all needed gas. But what happened? Did we have enough gas? What happened to the gas price from going to 99 cents to? What happened? Costs got pulled, right? There was no enough supply. We didn't have supply. We had to figure out a way. But did people stop buying? Did you all stop going to work or driving your cars? What happened? Our cost of living? Because we had to afford the gas, we stopped buying the extra fancy perfume that we were buying, right? We stopped cut down on our vacation. That was the only way to do it. So what happens with inflation? How does it affect us?
The standard of living go down.
Our standard of living do go down, right? That's exactly what happens. What is the good inflation rate? Inflation is good, right? To some extent, it's good to maintain the economy. That's the only way you can maintain with the economy, right? Because without inflation, if you don't get more paid, you're not going to spend. And what happens to the economy if you don't spend or earn money and spend it? Stagnant economy. You don't want to be in a stagnant economy. You want to get more, be able to spend so you can have more. So inflation up to 2% is healthy. We are at 1.75, it's good. 10, recession, that's a no-no. You don't want the inflation to go up. You don't want anything to go below what you could. All right, I think my time is running out. So I'm going to hand over my mic to Liz, who is a financial expert, and she's going to do a lot more of talking.
Thank you, Charlie. She did a wonderful job. I know it is late, and I'm going to finish it quickly, but this is very important topic because most of us, I think, we are from the medical field here, right? And I just want to kind of give a high level on how money works so we can use those techniques and use it in our daily life, okay? So I am Liz Joseph, and I'm a financial educator from Dallas, Texas. Okay, so what I do is I teach families
any families, right? High end or middle income or low income on how money works. Because there is this lack of financial education in this country for us. Because we came from India, most of us, right? Some of us are born here, but most of us, I think we came from India here, start working, and we work so hard. We are very good workers, right? We work so hard. But the money that we are getting, are we saving it correctly? Are we well informed about it, right? Unfortunately, there's a lot of lack of education in that area. And I'm going to quickly go over the main things that we discussed to respect everybody's time. Okay, you know this guy, right? Yes. Albert Einstein. You know what he said? Compound interest is the greatest mathematical discovery of all time. So, who likes math here? Okay, that's good. So, we all studied this in our school, but including myself, I never applied this rule for our day-to-day operations, okay? I'm going to teach you that cool math trick that you can use it to, sorry, I'm going to use Smita's technique to make some smart decisions while investing money, okay? So there is something called Rule of 72. I know the discussion people, we have learned quite a bit today about Rule of 72. So has anybody else heard about Rule of 72? Okay, so Rule of 72, always remember the number 72, okay? That's not going to change. That's the constant number. So if you are going to a bank and the bank says, I'm going to give you 1% interest. In real bank don't give you 1%, right? You get like, if you are in Bank of America, they give you 0.01%. But let's say bank, for calculation purpose, let's say bank is giving you 1%. Now, you can use Rule of 72 to quickly determine if you're investing $1,000 in bank, you can use Rule of 72 to quickly determine how long it will take for that money to be double, right? So 72 divided by the interest rate, in this case is 1%, so it will take 72 years for your money to be double, right? So the bank is giving you 0.01. So 72 divided by 0.01, how much is it? 7,200. 7,200 years it will take for your money to double. And we depend on bank for our saving, most of us. We think that is safe, but Chari spoke about inflation. How much is the inflation rate? 1.7, which is more than 0.01. So by putting just money in the bank, what are you actually getting? You're losing, right? You're losing money. So this is what I want you to teach, because I want you to learn, because just the small difference from the percentage, there's a huge difference. So in this example, I gave it 10%, right? For the 10%, it will take only how many years? 7 years, right? So versus 7,200 years. So you have to quickly, so whenever you go for any investment, right, your 401k or any investment that has interest in it, please use the Rule of 72 to do a quick mental math for you to calculate how many years it will take for my money to grow. Does that make sense? Everybody got it? Okay, so moving on. Start like this. Okay, about taxes. You know, Benjamin Franklin said, there's only 2 things certain in this world. Death and taxes, right? We are in this country and tell me about taxes. They tax you every time, right? All right, so this is a history of income taxes rates. And it's a little bit outdated from 1913 to 2017. But I want you to look at, where was that? 1944. What was the highest income tax bracket? 94%. What does that mean? Do you know what that means? So if you make 100,000, how much are you going to pay tax on it? 94,000. So just looking at this is the top bracket, okay? So just looking at different years, you can say that it's not going to stay constant, right? It keeps changing, right? So let me go to my next slides. There are 3 different types of taxes, okay? The first one is tax now. So tax now is the money that you put in your bank or CD accounts, money market, mutual funds, all that you pay tax right now. Tax later. I think many of us are familiar with tax later, right? You put your money in, you don't pay tax now, but you pay tax later. Examples are 401k, right? Because when before I came into financial profession, I was thinking, all my money in my 401k, I never pay tax. That is the wrong information. And I was surprised to see a lot of people who I taught, they also think the same way, who are in this country for more than 10 years. So that's the wrong information, right? So we pay tax and we don't know when we retire what is going to be the tax bracket. So we end up paying a lot more in taxes, right? And the third category is tax advantage. So tax advantage is you pay tax now, but later for the growth you don't pay tax. So you're sure, okay, even if the income tax rate goes high, you don't pay tax. You pay tax now, but you don't pay tax later. So those accounts are Roth IRAs, then there is cash value life insurance. There's some things missing in it. One is college 529. So you can save for college, that is a tax advantage. And then HSA, you have HSA benefit from your workplace. Those are all, you don't pay tax on the HSA savings. So those are tax advantage vehicles. So now, when does 100,000 not equal 100,000? Right? That is, for example, 401k. When you're retiring, if you have 100,000, it's really not 100,000, right? Because you have to pay tax on it. So the answer is when you need 100,000 from a taxable retirement vehicle. So the next slide, I want you to just think of a number based on your age. So if you want to earn $1 million at age 65 for your retirement, and you're investing that money in an 8% interest vehicle, I want you to think of a number based on your age on how much money you should be putting aside for your retirement. Just think of a number, okay? This is what the number should be. Because most of the time, when it comes to money, we do guesswork. Don't you all agree that? We do a lot of guesswork. And the actual number may be way different from what we guessed, right? So this, I want to end with this slide. Just think about all the values here. When you're in 20s, it's only $190, right? The more you wait, the more cost you have to pay. So if you wait till, 40s, how much is going to be? $1,000, $1,052. In 60s, it's $13,610. So this is, I want you all to think about this, right? And just think, are you saving enough for your retirement? If not, start saving. The more you wait, the more it is going to cost you. And you have a feedback form, a Wealth and Women feedback form. If anyone wants to know more, I know there's a lot of information now, and people have a lot of questions. So if anybody wants to know more about their specific scenarios, just write that feedback form and give it to me, and I will contact you, email you with more information. You know, some people have questions about college planning or retirement planning or whatnot. So whatever questions you have, just write that feedback form and give it to me, hand it over to any of the volunteers, and then we'll take care of you. Thank you. Plus, some of you have asked my business card, so I have it with me.
What are the answers to the initial evaluation questions?
Okay, so the question number 1 is about percentages, and the answer is B. There's a whole lot of explanation, so I have a website in that, so you can go to know more. And the question number 2 is about inflation, and the answer was C. Question 3 is about compound interest, and the answer is A. And the question 4 is impact of losses, and answer is C. And for more explanation and for more of the surveys, I have my website, so you can go, you get more details for it. Okay, thank you.
Question 5. Can you do that one more time, the answers? Question 5.
So question 1.
Question 5.
Question 5 is answer B.
Okay. What about, can you repeat the whole thing?
Yes, question 1 is answer B. 2 is answer C. 3 is answer A. And question 4 is answer C. And I think there's one more question. Question 5 is answer B. Risk diversification. I wish we had more time on it, but unfortunately, maybe you can put all your questions in the feedback form, and then I can reach out to you.
Thank you, Jess, and thank you, Shari. That was excellent. Did anybody get 100% score? You did? Excellent. Where are you from? What's your name?
From New York.
Lizzie Waterkalam from New York. Yay! She doesn't get a present. Next up is topic 1, balancing women's work and life. Topic leader is Meena Saju Vatakananda. She's from Atlanta, and she had co-leaders Sina Thomas Tercero. She's from Dallas, and Shiva Muthalam. She's from Chicago. Can you please stand? Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies. I know all of us are tired and sleepy. I was waiting for my turn too. So please pardon me. I'll try to shorten it as much as possible. Our topic was balancing women's work and life. There's nothing, no rocket science or no new knowledge that we gained. It was just sharing of our experiences, because I'm sure all of us do a good job, but we don't credit ourselves for doing that good job. And sometimes it's reassuring just to hear it from somebody who is almost like you or going through the same experiences like you. So it was kind of like a session of where we were able to find out what works for us, what works for different people, and at the end of it, we had a little aha moment. So please wait for that moment as I talk to you about the 2 points that we discussed. So mainly, we came up with 2 questions. Like Smita, I'm not very comfortable moving around. I used to be at one point of time. Now my figure doesn't allow me to. So the 2 questions. Sorry guys, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Meena Saji Vattakundathan. I'm from Atlanta. I'm a mother to 2 boys, 17 and 22. And they know that I was speaking here for a few minutes. My younger child gave me a reality check. He said, "Mom, you are not an instructor there like you were 20 years ago. Remember, these are women who probably know things better than you. So please make sure to not sound teacher-like." And I'm trying. I do not know how much of a success that will be. Please pardon my teacherly tone. It's because part of me still works on that mode. I work currently as a nurse navigator, so that teaching and education part has still stayed with me. So pardon if I sound too patronizing. So the 2 questions that we were talking about was, what does work-life balance mean to you? And how do you prioritize your time to achieve this goal? And the second one was, what are some of the strategies you want to pass on to the next generation to improve work-life balance for them? You know, we all have regrets. I wish I had done that. I wish I knew that then. So what are some of those things that you want to give? Some of the points that we discussed, I'm sure you know most of it. I'm just making a brief summary of our experiences and the times and the laughter that we shared. So, balancing work and life is not only needed for a woman, you need it for everybody. A child needs it, your husband needs it, but the impression is it's women that need balancing, isn't it? Men are not. Men just take off. Can I come to Las Vegas? This is my first time going out of the house, and I have not stopped feeling guilty. Do I have any kids at home waiting to be diaper changed? No. But I still feel guilty for showing up and feel guilty to come without my husband to Sin City. How do I make up for it? Well, I'm taking notes. Okay, this resort has this, that one has this. So maybe next time I'll bring my husband to one, or maybe we'll have a family trip. My younger one had an answer to that. You have to wait till I'm 21. So, what mainly women's work and life balance means is the gender expectations actually coined the term probably to expecting a woman to balance it all. And we know in all honesty, that we are never able to balance our work 50% and life 50%. There is no such term like a perfect balance. And balancing means like you are some kind of a circus acrobat or something. No, we are human beings. Our husbands have faults, we have faults, our kids have faults. But we are expected to be the one to balance life. If we can't make a good job of it, it affects our families, isn't it? Whether it is our ingrained gender role expectations that is asking us to be more balanced, in the end, what is the purpose of us trying to balance our life is in order to feel content doing something for your family, for your loved ones. Is that enough as an individual? No. You also want to feel fulfilled as having done something towards society, isn't it? So work-life balance, as we saw it, was to be present, to be able to balance your needs, your family's needs, and to feel fulfilled as an individual, to be contributing towards society in a meaningful way. I took care of my kids, I took care of my husband, and that's what all of us do. But what is my contribution to society as an individual? All three of these determine what our balance looks like. So the first thing that that was reassuring for me was there is no one size fits all. What is work-life balance to me is not what is your work-life balance. So we need to figure out what works for me and what is my work-life balance. While we were discussing things, we had young people, we had people in their 50s like me, and then we had older people too. And it was reassuring to know that everybody knows that they are doing some things right and some things are not that great. So it's like a process, and as we get older, we stop thinking that maybe this is the best balance I can achieve. Every single day that you're alive, you can still work to improving that balance. And that was the big validation factor that we got from a small team that we discussed after. So it changes from person to person. It changes from each stage of our life too. Today, in my 50s, I'm able to come to Las Vegas. If you ask me like 10 years ago, however much I wished, I probably would not have been able to make it. Because I do not have extended family here, and childcare was a huge issue. So yes, it is empowering that I do have the time and the resources to be able to come and meet all of you today. And so that's what gave me the challenge, like, okay, you are done child rearing, they really don't need any diapers changing. So what is it that you as a woman can do? And that's why unwittingly, it was a spur of a moment decision to come and pick up a topic that I wasn't even sure that I was capable of doing it or not. So the next thing, it changes during each stage of our lives. People, like I said, balancing looks like a circus. So there are different terms that people like for the work-life balance to be called. Some people call it as a work-life blend. That means some days the blend is leaning more towards your work, some days it is leaning more towards your family life. So it's a blending of your work, family, and all your relationships. They also like to call it as a work-life strategy. Sometimes it's also called as work-life flexibility, which seem to be the most appropriate one or most appealing one to most people, because it demands a lot of flexibility out of us to be able to prioritize your time, to be able to look for flexibility. Because if, for example, if you have, in my case, like childcare was an issue. For years I have worked night shifts, for years I took care of my kids, and probably taking care of myself was on a backseat. And now my kids are pointing that out to me like, Mom, it's time you don't put yourself on the back burner. So self-care and being kind to yourself is probably one of the biggest things about work-life balance. Because we forget as nurturers to take care of ourselves. In order to be able to give care or to be able to nurture another human being, you should have to recharge yourself every once in a while. So being kind and accepting of yourself and agreeing with the fact that you cannot do it all. You can have it all, but not at the same time. Does that make sense? So like, we do make choices and we make flexible decisions depending on what life demands of us. Because there is no guarantee that our lives will be the same today and tomorrow. The other thing, the ultimate aim that I already discussed was to be happy, to not only leave this world taking care of your husband and your kids, but also to leave a mark as an individual, or to use the gifts that God has given you to make a difference in society, or whatever, utilize your gifts. So once you're able to do that, it gives you a better work-life balance. Why? Because ultimately you are satisfied, and that affects the way your work as well as your personal life goes about. The media consumption was also brought up because that affects our work-life balance. We blamed our kids for being on the video games and texting and being a generation that is too tech-savvy, but we are also at fault, including me, for the incessant media, the social media consumption that we as adults have. We blame it on our kids, but how many of us are able to say that we also do a bad job of not streamlining our social media consumption? We may not be very tech savvy when it comes to workplace things, but we are very tech savvy when it comes to our social media. So maybe, yeah, the kids are to be blamed for their part of it, video games and all that thing, but older women also tend to misuse it. Women of all ages misuse it because it probably is equivalent to gossip in modern day, I don't know. But that was one thing to be mindful of when we are trying to control our children. They are watching us and they are looking at our media consumption, and maybe it is a good idea to put checks and balances in place. So technology can both be good and bad. So hold each other accountable. If mom is going beyond her, mom, it's dinner time and you're still WhatsApping. Yeah. I have to take a break and apologize. That's how my kids are going to learn. So that was one thing. Using our workplace wellness programs is another thing that we fail to use, because I might be sounding weak if I use my workplace wellness programs. They might think, stress relief. I don't want people at work to know. That kind of attitude has to change. Many a times we do not find enough time at home, and so using workplace resources will give you the time to stay up to date about whatever wellness programs are there, stress relief for you, and take better care of yourself without having to sacrifice your family time. Am I going above time limit? Am I okay? Can I get 2 more minutes? Okay. The next thing that we discussed was blocking out family time with your spouse, couple goals. I know it's something very hard. It was hard for us to talk to. So workplace, we are very good managers. We know what we are supposed to do and how to get work done out of people and how to do the job at work. Nobody needs any kind of lessons on that. What we forget is the people in our lives who are at home also deserve your time and attention. Sometimes undivided time and attention. The man who is married to you, he needs his time out. So making an effort to plan days out or some things that you as a couple do together. It could be do, see, take a trip, anything. And I know it's very hard for men to process it, especially Malayali men, because sometimes they're like, what do you want me to do? That was one of the questions. So there is no shame in having planned activities or planned times, especially with your spouse. When your children see you spending time with their father, it gives a signal to them that that relationship is very important. The same way, you also schedule some time with your children. So, the way we plan out our work life, if we were to place the same importance and carve out time with our family members, might help our balance at home. The other thing was, many of us think that being available 24/7 to everybody, be it your co-workers, hey, can you come and work an extra shift? That is a good thing. It really is not. You have to set limits with your co-workers about when you will be available and when you will not. Because eventually, after being a good girl for a couple of years, you will get tired of it. Isn't it? So it is better to have those limits in place while you can still have it. The other thing was, we talked about family, work. The most important thing is your self-care. Prioritizing your self-care without feeling guilty about it. Isn't the way I said that coming to Vegas was like, I'm still with that guilt feeling. I'm sure most of us have, like, my self-care or my time out or my things that make me happy take a back seat over the well-being of my family, isn't it? And I'm sure it's the same with all of us. So if women empower each other, the one thing that I want you to know is, we need to be kind with ourselves first. If you are kind with yourselves, if you can see that you are a person of value, even with all your faults, and even if you are not perfectly balanced, that will be a good start for our work-life balance. And networking with your friends, expanding your support system. I did not have immediate family, but I did have very good co-workers who helped me. I did have a very good church community, which keeps my sanity. I taught Sunday school. I still teach Sunday school because it gives me an opportunity to do something for kids other than my own kids. So when I talk about my Sunday school, it's like my Sunday school kids, my children. So having interest outside of your home and your work life is important for your work-life balance. For some people, it could be spirituality. There is nothing wrong with it. For some people, it could be creativity. We had a person in our group, I think Sibi, who is into writing books. So it could be anything that gives you comfort and joy. So the other thing we lack as Indians and Malayalis is asking for those flexibility opportunities at work. Many of our employers, they have good flexibility options, but nobody is going to bring it to you unless you ask. So asking and taking charge of your flexibility option. And a simple example was, I was a night shift person, 10 years I worked nights, went on to a clinic day job Monday to Friday, had no time to myself. Saturday was catching up on chores, Sunday was church. So we asked, all of us felt that we were not getting enough time. So we asked for a flexible work time and we got 4/10s. So now I have a day of the week where I have some time to myself. So it could be anything. All you need to do is find out what works for you and have the courage to ask. Unless you ask, you won't get it. And some of the things that the younger generation, that was an eye-opener, was how gender roles are slowly getting blurred. It may not be completely true, but we had one person in our group who said that she does the financial part of the household. That means her bills and everything, she's taking care of it, whereas the husband takes care of other things. So that may be a good start. And the one exercise that we did, that was our aha moment, was if you would all just stand up for a minute and try to put your one leg out to see if you can balance. It won't be for a long time. Hold hands and try to balance. Put your foot out. Yeah, you go a little more further. Yeah, it was an aha moment, it wasn't planned. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Meena. That was excellent. We have 2 more topics to go. Should we continue? Yes? Next up is topic 2, cultural identity of Knanaya children growing up in USA. Implications and concerns. Our lead speaker is Anne Kerigula. She's from Chicago. The co-leads were Shiny Roshni Korean. She's also from Chicago. Leena Kunyamatu, she's from New York. Pramila Ettu Kanjiratingal, she is from Detroit. And Lisa Marimangalam, she is from Tampa. Can you please stand? Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. I'll try to stay brief. I know we're all getting a little tired. But the first thing I'm going to say is just that going toward the end is hard because I feel like I have very big shoes to fill. I feel like all of our presenters have given us so much great information and have been so interesting and good at this. So I'm going to take some of Smitha's advice. I'm going to take a deep breath. Hopefully the palms will stop sweating. And I'll take advice from everyone. Say, I love myself and I'm good and I'm special and unique. So what we discussed was the implications of cultural identity in Knanaya Catholic children growing up in this country. So kind of some of the things I was thinking, and the reason I think this topic is important for us as we're raising our children is I read some interesting articles and studies showed that children with lower cultural identity or who don't have a strong cultural identity were actually at greater risk for drug abuse and other negative behaviors. They can suffer from depression and low self-esteem. And I also read another article which said that a strong sense of cultural identity helped to protect children from any racism they may experience. Because I think that when you have a strong sense of self and self-confidence, it protects you from feeling as bad when people are not nice to you just simply because of where you're from or because you are different. So I think that that was a reason that I found this topic interesting and thought about why we needed to make this a priority. So we started by defining culture. So as a team, we said it was language, communication, food, traditions, and ideologies. We also added that it could be about where you come from, your family, and your experience in immigration or from being born here, whatever that may be, and how you were raised. So importantly in this, obviously, between cultures, there are differences, the obvious differences, right? Maybe the way you look, the way you dress, the foods that you eat, your traditions. But really, we talked about the ideologies also are different. And something we kind of identified was that, you know, Indian or Eastern cultures often prioritize family, community, and faith. And those are obviously also present in Western cultures, but what's different is in Western culture, I think there's a greater emphasis on the individual and their talents and their passions and what they want to do. So we feel that there are definitely pros and cons in both ways of thinking, but as Indians living and raising families in America, the challenge lies in finding the balance between the two cultures. So taking the good from one and some of the good from the other. So we went to summarize. So in speaking with our group and identifying things that we do to have better relationships with our children and to instill a strong cultural identity in them, we felt that it started with open communication. Talk to your kids every day is pretty much the takeaway that we got from that. And help them to feel safe, that they can come to you with any questions, concerns, and anything that's bothering them. And as I know you talked about, Anne, it's also listening. People shared really great experiences. Someone told us that when they immigrated here, their son was 12, he was very unhappy in school, and she took the time to talk to him and to listen, and he said he wants to return to India and finish school there, and he'll come back when he's done. And you know, as a mother, it must have been a very difficult decision, but she did that for him. So it is, it's about talking to them, but listening when they tell you what they need. So we also want to, we talked about, so specifically to Indian culture, that to start establishing that in your home. And the earlier you start that, the better, because that's when they're little and their circuitry is still kind of fresh, and you know, have the food in your home. You know, let them be comfortable with, you know, with Indian clothing. Teach them our language. Send them to CCD. These things will have a lasting impression on them. I mean, we can't promise that they will always attend, you know, Kananaya Church. I mean, they're going to go to college, they're going to move, things like that. But I think it's more instilling in them our culture, our expectations, and making sure that they know their history, whether it's of their individual families or of Indian history in general, and just helping them to know who they are and where they came from. Of course, they're going to assimilate into American culture. They have to go to school here, they have to work here, and they have to understand that culture as well. But I think it's about them really knowing who they are deep inside, and to feel comfortable in any setting. Another recommendation that one of our moms talked about is being very involved in their lives and in their school. Meet their friends, know who these people are, and don't be afraid to go and volunteer at their school and be involved in things. Then you have an idea of what they're facing when they're not in your house. You get to go out there and see the people and see the kinds of people that are around them when they're not with you. And people also shared the experience. So we had a good diverse group. Some people mentioned that they themselves immigrated to the United States when they were around 12 and 13. And they did discuss the discomfort of that experience, and that it can be very difficult. But it is a challenge, and it is a learning experience, and they do get through it. But what they felt helped them was the support at home, saying, you know who you are, you're a member of this family, these are our beliefs and these are our traditions, and it helped them to be strong. So again, just to reiterate that having that support and knowing who you are, as described to you by your family, help them to navigate them in society and in the world. I think that was the crux of our decision, of our discussion, excuse me. And I think it's important too, a final thought, that we work as a community to help people with that. If you have kids who grew up here and they meet kids who did not, I think it's our responsibility to teach them more about the similarities wherever you grew up in the world and wherever you live. That were Malayalis, or that were Catholics, that were Kananaya, and that you really do have more in common with them than you think. And I think that that's, again, something that we establish in the home, that wherever you grew up, you do have a lot in common with these kids, wherever they happen to spend the first, maybe initial years of their life. So just lots of communication and discussion at home, and that's where we feel that begins. Thank you.
Excellent presentation and excellent time management too. I didn't have to warn her. And the last but not the least, next topic is women leaders supporting other women in organizational and personal entities. Our lead speaker is Divya Vallipadaval. Her co-leaders were Sunita Philip Makil and Ansi Kuplikate. Sunita is from Houston, Ansi is from Chicago, and Divya is from Ohio. She used to be a Houstonian, now she's moved to Ohio.
Thank you, Smita. Is my colleague here? Okay, thank you. So, you know, they always leave the best for the last, right? So they left this because empowering women, we are all empowered women. That's why we are already here, right? Otherwise, it's impossible that we would make it to the summit. So, well, I want all of you all to close your eyes for a moment, okay? And think about one woman who inspired you unconditionally. She's never expecting anything in return. Everybody would say mom, right? Nothing in return. You don't have any friends who did that to you? Well, we never say a friend, but because there might be a condition. Because when we say they are expecting either a thank you or maybe an appreciation, right? So when it comes to that, it is called as business. When it comes to appreciation and, you know, oh, okay, I did a help, I want something in reply, in return. You know, when they say, I want something in return, I need an appreciation, right? When it comes that way, it is called business. It's not love anymore. Okay, when you do it unconditionally, it is called love. All these executives who have been here, you know, who gave their time, talent, treasures, who are right here as KCWFN executives and who have been leaders. They've given all the 3 T's, time, treasure, and talents, right? So they are doing it unconditionally. They are not paid anything, right? Whoever has been executives, we are not paid anything. But I want to say, everybody who's sitting here is a born leader. Would you say, yes, I am? Why? Because you are all mothers who have great management, organizational skills at your home. If you are able to do that much, then why are you not a leader? Who would be the next KCWFN executives? Raise your hands, empowered women. Raise your hands. Who is willing to be next KCWFN executives after this term? Now, raise your hands. I want to see if you are all leaders who have management, organizational skills at home. Raise your hand. Good. Let me take your name, please. Please take your name. You know what? Do you know when we become empowered? When this whole room, all of you start raising your hand. Yes, I will be a leader. How about we say to KCCNA to start doing, $1,000 per month as a salary? Okay. No, then there is that becomes a business, right? When we give time, treasure, and talent out unconditionally, it's with love. It's called as empowering. Yes, she has something to say.
How about the KCCNA president to be a woman?
Oh, we can't wait for that to happen.
Why not?
Why not? Yes?
We should have that as a discussion.
Yes, of course. Why should it always be men? We should think about it.
Why not?
Yes?
Why should it have to be a guy?
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
So the discussion.
Let's put this way. Who is willing to become KCWFNA first before you want to be KCCNA? everybody is sitting here, right? Nobody is raising your hand. Is it because you have so much commitments in life? Priorities in life that you always have thinking of your children? Why not? Okay. So, one woman I really want to recognize, she's not here because she is never a person who thinks about giving appreciation or unconditional response for the summit. The first summit was started and the second summit, both the times she unconditionally gave the first financial money to implement this women's summit was Mrs. Elsa Couture. She does not need a recognition. She doesn't need thank you, nothing. But she gave it unconditionally for our women to do much better. Okay, so I just want to keep it very simple because I was like talking about two situations in our group. I want, do we have both the group here? No, in my group, the group that we were presenting, group discussion, do we have the people here? I don't know if they went for lunch. No? Okay. The leaders. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So having said all this, I want you all to think, how are we going to inspire one woman? It is the positive feeling that we have. The three things that I want to leave with you today is every day, have a positive influence on oneself. Think of positivity in yourself that I can do good, and in order to that happen, there should be savoring. What is savoring? Enjoying yourself, right? If you have to savor yourself, you have to enjoy yourself to be doing good to others, right? So how only then would you be able to make a difference in others' life. So other women that I want to talk about is Mrs. Gracie Vachachara. She's not here. Okay, so this KCWFNA, did you all know that we don't have elections? Because under her term is when they build a constitution in such a way that each region gets opportunity and there won't be election among our women. It is an understanding who want to take the position and do this volunteer job. So it was in her term, the constitution was built in such a way that there will not be any election among our women. So I think she is a woman who gave her time and talent to bring peace and harmony among our women. So in such ways, how we can inspire other women, because women is a symbol of harmony, right? So likewise, how are we going to bring this uplift the next generation? How would we lift another generation is the next topic. How are we going to lift the next generation? When we say Women's Forum, it's from the ages from 25, right? Ages from 25. Anybody who is 25 years sitting here?
25 with experience.
But we could do. You are all mothers. I know some people have daughters who are 25 years. Not bragging. My daughter, when we were thinking about starting a new Women's Forum unit and talking, she's an 8-year-old girl. She's been seeing her mom. But she's like, can I be your vice president? So that is the kind of a feeling that we should develop in such a way that we can grow the younger, lift the next generation. The lifting next generation has to come from the mother. I want to recognize few mothers and daughters who have come here. I cannot miss out Selena Auntie and the daughters who are here, Betty Auntie and Danu. Anybody whose mothers and daughters, both of them here in the summit? Oh, good. So there are a few mothers and daughters together in the summit. Please give a round of applause to them. This inspires other mothers to bring your daughters when they are 25 years and up. It doesn't always have to be an Ammachi group. Women's Forum is not Ammachi group. It's from the ages from 25. Let them get inspired. Let us lift the young people to be in the Women's Forum. When elective people come for the executives, I want to make sure there is at least one 25-year-old girl in that group. Should be there. So that she can inspire other younger 25 age and on up people to be there in the group. Okay? So these are some things that I want to leave with you. So to inspire, one person have to have gratitude, positivity in yourself to inspire other women. So always have a positive outlook in your life. Only then you can bring inspiration into other women. Okay? So let's close our eyes. This is the last topic. So we'll go with peace. All of us, let's go in peace. That it all comes only with contentment. Contentment in our life, only then we can be happy. Only then we can make a difference in the society and our young women to make a difference in our society. So where it says here, to us, it is making difference. One person can make a difference, but if we all start making a difference in other women, we can rock the world. Are you all ready to rock the world? Yes. Say, I will be one positive, inspiring woman. Okay, let's close our eyes and go with the contentment. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. All of y'all enjoy the evening.
That was excellent. Oh, I didn't know Auntie Chichi was here, so please stand. We need to see who you are. Thank you. And Sunita is not here or no? Sunita, no? No, she's not here. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking around with us to the end of the presentations. And we really appreciate that. And please come to the front for a group picture. Please. This is going to be the last thing before lunch.